Now, ladies and gentlemen, the sustainability of CSGO'S market moving forward into CS2. The past few weeks ever since CS2's announcement, just the past few days of the Paris Major update, though this script came out a couple days before that, it's still extremely relevant. I've received a boatload of questions regarding CSGO'S market and the sustainability of it. Is the market safe to buy? Should I sell? Should I wait until CS2 to buy or sell? Did the market just peak? And these are all frequent comments I get pretty much on a daily basis. Today I want to discuss the current situation with the CSGO economy and recent changes, how that all affects CSGO's future. We'll talk about why skins have gone up, recently corrected and crashed, some will say, what's to come soon, and how does this relate to the past. We'll also discuss regulation, what would happen with that, such as KYC for Steam, know your customer, as well as Valve just updating their online code of conduct, which cracks down on people just a little harder. Now today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a trading site for your CSGO skins. It's one of the easiest and safest ways to swap out your inventory for something new. Extra cash on every trade gets added to your balance. It also has a 30% deposit bonus. And if you use the link in the description or use my code MANDO in two different ways, one which adds 5%, totaling out to 35 for your deposit bonus. And if you're a first-time user, you can get up to a free $5 on your first trade. They also have a freebies tab where you can enter giveaways for free. If interested, it'll be the top of the link in the description below. Let's firstly discuss the CS market, where it's at and where it's headed. Now, at the time being of me writing this script a couple weeks back, it's still relevant, but we've seen a pretty huge correction and crash. A skins bubble has popped, but not as much as I think it's possibly going to. Skins like the Blaze are going from $350 to $1,500 in 1 week. This is a graph people would see not in 3 months, but somewhere along the lines of 4 to 5 years. Ever since that big hype though, it's now gone back to pretty much its stock price. A little higher than before, but that's to be expected with more people coming in. To clear things up, this is not normal. Yes, we waited for Source 2 or now CS2 for years. The hype was and is still very real, but we haven't really gained any large amounts of players ever since CS2's announcement, not too much than even before, which means the skins are being bought up, but not as much by newer players, but old. Prices on items we're seeing would have taken years, not weeks to rise. I think this is due to people investing and having hopes that one, they'll look very good in CS2, but also have a huge hype going forward, which I believe is pretty dangerous. Players are getting and will be extremely burned from losing a boatload of money when CS starts to slow down in the next little while. When CS2 releases, a couple months pass, and even something like an operation drops, prices are going to go down. How much? We don't know, but they will. Unless 2 million players pop out of nowhere that are brand new, I don't really see these things being sustainable and people paying for them. Yes, I'm sorry I keep bringing up the Blaze, but it's a prime example. Players invest into the skin at its peak, and then when 1 week is up, trade locks are over and regrets take place. And that skin crashes, the same thing that happened with the Gold Arabesque just a couple weeks back. This thing went crazy out of nowhere to almost $20,000 and then dropped half the price just a few days later. If someone bought it at an early price and were to sell at that 18 to 20,000, that is literally life-changing amounts of money that someone now doesn't have the opportunity to get. That's by taking profits and selling, at least when you feel comfortable and made a decent amount of money, especially if you need it, is extremely important. Now, as it goes for cases, especially if they're active duty, that's pretty much like putting all your money on a CSGO crash gambling website and hoping for the best. We just saw this with the snakebite where it went up like crazy, everything was over $1, now it's back down at 50 to 60 cents. This is a high risk, decent to high reward. Now, this is also something in the script I had just a week back where our prices actually crashing, and I talked about how the real-time feed for CSGO cases is no longer a thing, so we can't see unboxings and what cases and packages are open at a live time, which would inflate and also deflate unboxing numbers, which doesn't help with prices because people are going to buy and sell based off that. Ever since, I believe this has somewhat been fixed, but the reasoning for this is that an everlasting problem, such as inventories and people's skins pretty much not loading, which was around ever since CS skins really came out, the servers were overloaded, and instead of Valve upgrading them, they just took away features such as that. As it goes for unboxing numbers the past couple of months, we're going up pretty much a consistent 10 million every single time. Though this past month at 50 million is something a little different and isn't really 50 million, where 9 million of those said unboxings were from the Anubis souvenir packages when those first dropped. That means case unboxings are a little higher, but not much than before. Now, the argument could be there where people, if these weren't there, they'd unbox cases, but these are also a lot more affordable and somewhat of a new way Valve has introduced buying souvenir packages on the shop like a community capsule, which that also has its fair share of problems. How can we relate this to the past? Well, when it comes to CSGO, and just like most things in life, history repeats itself. All good things come to an end, prices will eventually fall, especially from something like this. A crash is a bigger term than what I'd actually use, which is a correction. Now, what am I doing currently, and what should you do as well? As it goes for me, it really sucked, but I was also blessed at the exact same time that I needed to cash out a decent chunk of my portfolio inside CS, which I touched on Mando Monday if you're interested, but that was at a pretty big peak of when these skins were going up. And also things like the Desert Eagle Blaze, I didn't need that money. I sold it as soon soon as it went to $1,400. Some prices just seem too absurd for what the skin and the player count actually is. Even if it kept rising, I don't want to take that risk. Now, what should you do? As it goes for investing and putting in money, only put in what you can afford to lose. Things change, like stickers or skins inside CS2, but are not predictable at most times. Now, I wrote stickers in this script long before the Paris stickers came out, and this is a prime example. Don't put all your money on something like Stockholm or Antwerp before these stickers came out, because you don't know what's going to come next. Expect the unexpected from Valve, and well, that just happened. My predictions for CSGO's market going forward is for the next 2 months, the game will be thriving, but things will level out and start to become normal. I think before or during CS2's final release, we'll see one last big pump and a big hefty correction. That's just my thoughts though. Now, this is also me in the post edit, but this is extremely relevant and something I think every CS player, investor, crafter should hear. Regulation is inevitable, at least in CS. The amount of laundering and shady/gray area situations there are pretty insane because not many people are aware of it. When Gamba sites post things like this, I think the problem is bigger than we all really think. You can have as many disclaimers as you want, gamble responsibly, possibly even limiting you. But I think one thing we can learn is don't mess with the big boss, Valve. Speaking of Gamba, Valve has also updated their online code of conduct, which most things haven't changed. They've just adjusted things more to the time. They've also added gambling as a bannable offense and some other things, which I have 2 videos on and pretty much going in depth and explaining them. The most recent one is a lot better. The first one was my raw reaction. Now, will you be banned if you use a Gamba site going forward? I'm not sure. I'm not Valve. I'm gonna go off a limb and say no, but like we just discussed, I wouldn't mess and play with that fire because it's not something I think we understand nor can put out. And it kind of just comes back to common sense. Don't do anything shady. Don't do anything weird, and your account is most likely going to be fine. That's just my thoughts for today's video, guys. This is something I've been wanting to put out for the past couple of weeks, but with constant updates, which that's really weird to say from Valve, we had to delay this a little bit. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.